Um, I was kind of thinking of like sort of an interesting topic. I thought I'd kind of talk about it. Um, I was kind of thinking about what it means to be a champion and like the kind of champions that are sort of out there. Um, and I think this counts for powerlifting and sort of Olympic weightlifting too. Like it's in many ways not technically a sport because you're kind of just in competition with yourself, and then like each person does their own thing, and then they like compare numbers at the end, and whoever has the best wins versus versus a sport like soccer or baseball or basketball or something where it's like everyone's on the team at the same time, and there's like a lot going on, and it's kind of like a group task, group activity, and a group win. Uh, there is kind of the context I was thinking of this in was like context of kind of like world domination and like that like conqueror mentality that I think like Alexander the Great had and others had, um, where you're like I want to like kill everyone, crush my opposition and my other team and opponents and stuff, or like whoever I'm up against. And I feel like that kind of mentality works well when you have like an army or like you have like a huge group and stuff. But then when it's just you, it's kind of risky in ways because it's like you kind of can risk losing yourself and your own humanity, and I think of it's like similar to I can think of like various movies and like stories of notable people who've gone this route who like were the champ and wanted to kill everyone else and beat their competition and be the number one, be the kind of like the man at the top of the hill and stuff, but it's I think you realize very quickly that that's fleeting. You get to stand on the hill for a second before like someone else comes and kills you, and no one like no one really gets to survive or be the one who's the true best of them all for all time. Um, like someone always comes along who's stronger or better or who does more. So the mentality I was kind of thinking is that like you can have that mindset of like I'm gonna kill all my opposition. I'm gonna be the best in the entire world and be the best at everything and like be better than truly like everyone else. But if that's your mindset, then you almost set yourself up to lose because you don't account for your own like human nature, your own kind of like lackings and your own humanity. That you're gonna be old, you're gonna die someday, you're gonna kind of grow weaker and not always be able to be in your prime and stuff. But I think I talked about this before, but the champion mentality that I think appeals to me and that I think is very wise is like kind of the Ed Cohn mentality that he talked about, where you kind of don't look too much at what anyone else is doing and focus on just being the best that you can be and kind of keeping on improving your numbers and being the best you, and then not caring too much about what anyone else is doing outside of maybe learning something new. In that way, like when you're competitive with yourself first and most of all, then you can kind of keep going. I think like Cone and Stan Efferding and a lot of these guys, like they never really lost their strength. I think, um, and they realized that. I think both of them have talked about it, and numerous other lifters, that if they truly wanted to, they could give their old titles like a run for their money. They could get back into it and jump back in, and do all the little things to get back to the top. Um, I think when you set it up as a goal that you're gonna fucking die or you're gonna beat all your competition, and that's your goal, like in the long term, like do or die in like a macro long term sense, then it's very risky, and it's like you almost set yourself up to lose, to like die for like one stupid competition or just to be the best for like a few seconds, versus you dedicate to just getting better over time for however long it takes for the rest of your life, and you get just a tiny bit better, an inch better, an inch better, an inch better each day, and then over 20 years, 25 years, suddenly you're one of the best in the world. And um, and it took you a while, but that was never really your like primary goal. Your primary goal was just to have fun and to get like a tiny bit better each day, and then when you're up there, you get to keep it because you built that foundation over decades, and you didn't really have an ego or kind of stupid reasons or um, like insincere like motivations for getting there and stuff. You just wanted to get like a little bit better each day, and that's the person that gets to kind of get to the top and keep it because they built it up over all that time, and because their goal wasn't to kind of kill everyone else and beat everyone else. Because when you do it like that in that way, then suddenly the target is on you, and someone else is looking to kill you and beat you, and they very well might. Versus if you just did it like the other way, where you just do bit by bit by bit, and then you're kind of humble. You don't take it too seriously, and you are the best at that point. But you even welcome like someone else to come and beat your own records, and that's a pretty cool thing, or that's how it should be. And you might think that like, oh, like powerlifters are humble and like most lifters are like that, but I know examples of lifters. There are people in this sport and in others who aren't this way, who are the first way instead, who want to step on other people's back to kind of win at times, or or are kind of like fuck the competition, fuck everyone, I'm gonna kill everyone, and I'm gonna like murder them and be the best and be the best for as long as I possibly can be. And they're about beating others more than about improving themselves. And just in my opinion, I think it's wiser to um, be be the more humble type, the more self improvement type, and personal growth type, and not so much the world domination type. And something to consider is that if you are a competitor by nature, you are going to be competitive. Like you will have that like natural stride of like wanting to kill your competition and stuff. That's okay, but I think overriding that, the primary thing should be that you just want to get better and just improve a little bit each day, and be your best self, be competing with yourself primarily. That like keeps you in the game, and everything else that I've been competitive at, that I was like about just kill the competition or be better than everyone else, I left all those things because it wasn't sincere, it was ego based, and there was like kind of no end in sight. I've seen it too. Like real quick, it's funny that I became the best like when I was a kid. I wanted to be the best at Super Smash Bros. It took like a while, it took like a few years, but suddenly I got to be like the best that I could be, and I got to the point where we'd go to cousins' houses or friends' houses. I'd like kill the game for everyone. Like everyone would have to team up against me, and then put like computers on their team, and it would be everyone against me, and I'd still win it with against everyone, and I'd keep like almost all my lives too most of the time, and I like basically killed the game for everyone. And after that happened, when your only fulfillment is beating everyone and not like doing it for the fulfillment you get in yourself or the personal growth, then like you reach a point potentially where like what the fuck do you do? Do you quit? Or like do you like kill yourself? Like George Lehman would say that like, oh, I'm gonna like deadlift the heaviest weight and I'm gonna just like kill myself. Like that's what you used to think. um, because if your goal is just to crush the competition and beat everyone, but it's no there's no like fulfillment in the thing itself, then it's like, why are you doing it? Because when you what happens is when you get to that top level where you are number one and there's like no other competitors in sight, you're like bored. There's like nothing you can do. There's nowhere else to go. There's no fulfillment, no happiness, and it's just kind of like, well, fuck, like what do I do now? And like you just like play it, and what ultimately ends up happening is like you quit. Like you play your friends, you get done beating them, you beat them like 50 times in a row, like you're done. You don't have anywhere else to go. You don't want to do anything else, and you really won't enjoy or get anything out of that. Versus if your goal was to just build a relationship with the thing and get a little bit better each day, and enjoy doing it for itself, then like everyone in the world could be gone and you could be the only person alive and stuff, and you'd still have fulfillment in your heart to do it, and you'd have something driving you to get better because you had that kind of desire to just get a tiny bit better each day, and you got fulfillment in the act itself and in the sport and kind of doing the thing itself. So I think that's the difference between those two mindsets, and that's one of the reasons that some guys quit and other guys stay on and get to grow old with the sport, and that's kind of the difference between the two mentalities. If you have like a crush it and kill all the competition and kill all the opposition mentality, and you want to be the best for that reason, as your primary, it's risky, and there's just in a lot of ways I think less fulfillment and less happiness, both inside and on the outside, going that route versus the other route of being humble and taking it a day at a time and working to get just a little bit better each day. And in doing that, you get like better before your very eyes a lot of the time in ways that you wouldn't have expected, and sometimes faster than you would have thought. Not always, but a lot of the time. So it's kind of something to consider. There's a couple of options that you get there, and some people go one, some people go the other, and I guess most people are probably somewhere in between, potentially. But it's an interesting topic and something worth thinking about